Hi Botanical Medicine Club, this is Ryan, your club vice president. Last time I saw you, we were going over the shopping list to make elderberry syrup, and today we're now going to be making the elderberry syrup. So I hope you've gathered all your ingredients together and you're ready to go. Before we begin, I just want to tell you why we would be making elderberry syrup. So this is a recipe we usually make in the winter time. Because it's really great for health support during the time of year when we tend to be more susceptible to all sorts of bugs. And what elderberries do is they improve blood flow and circulation. They're also a relaxant and can soothe spasmodic coughs. And they also help the body fight off influenza viruses. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and show you the setup and let's start making some elderberry syrup. Alright, so as you can see here, I have a half a cup of honey. Just as a reminder, we're going to be using a 1/4 cup to a half a cup, depending on consistency. And here I just have a pot of water that's just heating. I'm just going to put this honey in here to gently warm up the honey. If you recall, I'm using a thicker honey, so by warming it up, it's just going to help thin the honey out to make it easier to make the syrup. Then here I have our other pot for the syrup. I'm going to go ahead and turn my stove on high. And right here I have our 1.5 cups of water. So we're just going to pour the water in there and bring that to a boil. So once that boils, then we'll be playing with our elderberries. So for this recipe, we're going to be simmering the elderberries, and this is called a decoction. We do this because elderberries are firm, and decoctions are what we use for things like bark, firm roots, and firm little berries like these guys. Alright, so I'm going to let this water come to a boil, and then I will see you for the elderberry portion. Alright, so our water is boiling, and now we're just going to turn this down to very low. We're just going to be simmering the berries. So as this sort of comes down, we're now going to add in our berries. Again, this is 3 tablespoons of elderberries. So we're just going to let this mixture simmer on low. You want it to be as low as it can for 15 to 20 minutes. I am going to leave the lid on just to keep as many of the volatile oils in there as we can. And then in 15 to 20 minutes we'll be straining. Alright. So it's been 20 minutes that we've had the elderberries simmering for this decoction, and now we're gonna go ahead and strain the elderberries. So, and you can also see here before we strain, let me show you the honey. So I had this sitting in the warm water, and you can see it's much thinner now. Alright, so let's go ahead and strain the elderberries. You can see I have my strainer here. So we're just straining out the berries. And for now, I'm just gonna place the strainer back in the pot and set the pot to the side. Okay. So here we have our elderberry water, and I just want to show you the consistency of the water before we add the honey. So you can see it's just a very thin consistency, just like a tea, basically. So now, move that out of the way so you can see. Now we're gonna go ahead and add the honey. So again, We're doing 1/4 cup to 1/2 cup, and I'm just gonna slowly pour in the honey, stir it until I get to the right consistency. So stirring in the honey. The reason we're adding this honey is because it acts as a preservative, and honey has glucose in it, and so it also acts to deliver the medicine to our cells, since our cells readily like to take up glucose. So those are just a couple of reasons why we like honey. So I still want this to be just a little bit thicker here. I'm gonna keep stirring in more honey. Also, the honey makes the syrup sweet so that it's palatable, which is nice. Kind of makes it a yummy treat. Still pretty thin. I think we're gonna go for the full 1/2 cup here. Okay, so that's gotten a little bit thicker. So let's see if I could show you this on the video. So we've added 1/2 cup of honey, and you can see that just moving the spoon through it, it's a little bit thicker now. All right. And we should end up with, if everything was done correctly, about 1 cup of syrup. And you can see here that we have 1 cup. And that's how we make elderberry syrup. So I'm just gonna go ahead, and I'm probably going to need a couple jars, but for now, I'm just gonna be putting my syrup in a jar like this to let it cool down. Oh, actually, this looks like the perfect size jar. All right. And there we have some elderberry syrup. So now that you have this made, how long does it last? So this will last on your countertop for maybe about 2 weeks, but it will last in the fridge for about a month. So I recommend you keep the syrup refrigerated so it'll last longer. And a nice way to use the syrup is you could always add some sparkling water and put in, you know, a couple tablespoons of syrup and enjoy it as almost like a soda, just a flavored fizzy water. Or if you really want to, you could just drink like a shot of the syrup plain. But I'd recommend adding some fizzy water and enjoying it as a nice beverage. So this is our recipe for elderberry syrup. I hope you enjoyed this recipe, and I can't wait to see how your syrup comes out. See you next time.